doing today? It's 84 degrees in southern Florida. I am on the I-75. I'm actually going southbound, heading towards Naples, Florida. Today is October 26th, 2014. It's 4:33 p.m. in the afternoon, and I hope everybody's healthy, wealthy, and wise. Guys, you know, I wanted to bring up a little a video response kind of to the stuff that's going on, and you know, all the stuff that's going on with this Ebola stuff. And some people are saying that we shouldn't have quarantine. Some people are saying we should have quarantine. You know, the way I look at this, okay, if you have a highly dangerous disease that's kind of isolated in one area of the world, and you want to prevent it from spreading, then doesn't it just make sense, whatever avenues into the countries you monitor them? I mean, it just really makes. And especially if you have a disease that has an incubation period of 21 days. Look what Nigeria did. Nigeria is Ebola free, and they had a lot of Ebola. What they were doing, they were limiting everybody from coming into their country. They had a ban. Okay. I know economically the businessmen don't like it because they go back there to make money and stuff like that. I realize that. But the thing is, and the healthcare workers were saying that it's prejudicial, they're like prisoners. The one lady said, listen, if you are in a country where they have Ebola, you're a nurse, a healthcare worker, or a regular civilian, or even a bigwig, a politician or a government official, and you go there, okay, and then you come back, they should, because nobody's going to tell the truth, number one. When you go over there, you might be in an error where they have Ebola or they didn't. And coming back, you don't want to get quarantined, so you're going to say, no, I wasn't near anybody, like the guy that came, Duncan came to Texas, right? You're going to say, well, no, you know, I haven't been near anybody with Ebola. They really can't believe you. So if you're coming back from an Ebola hotspot, so to call, and you come back into the United States or any country, France, Germany, Russia, Canada, they should quarantine you. And it shouldn't be volunteer quarantine. It should be mandatory quarantine. Now, some people are saying, well, they went there, then they come back here and they got to work. Well, hey, then I hate to say it, then don't go there, okay? If you're worried about coming back here and you don't want to, you know, do the quarantine, and it should be mandatory, yes, because we found out voluntary quarantine means nothing. It's useless. I'm all for putting a bracelet on the person and make sure they, if you are having volunteer, make sure they stay in their house. By the time they leave their house, an alarm goes off. Do that. Then they can be quarantined in their house. Or they need to get together and have one main quarantine area, or like 5 throughout the whole country. So like when somebody wants to come into the United States, that flight is diverted, and everybody there is quarantined for 21 days, and then they have the airplane bring them back or something to the United States. It doesn't even have to be here. It could be an island somewhere. But really, we really have to have quarantine, because now, you know, we had multiple cases in the United States. Most of them were healthcare workers, except Duncan. But, you know, healthcare workers don't tell the truth either a lot of times. And healthcare workers are getting it. So there was one stupid nurse, and I really say she's stupid. She was making a big deal that she was on quarantine and her civil rights are being violated. How are your civil rights being violated? You're working with Ebola, a disease that has a 50 to like 75% mortality rate. Hundreds of thousands of people are dying of it over in Liberia, in this cluster of countries. How is it makes actually no sense at all. You come back, you've been there, you should be isolated, you'd be quarantined, probably not 21 days, 41 days. Who's going to pay for it? Oh, well, if the government's got to pay for it, they got to pay for it. We're sending equipment, our military, and probably millions of dollars over there to cure the disease. We could spend a few $100,000 over here to isolate somebody in quarantine. And if it's a healthcare worker that went there and they're coming back, pay their salary for a month. It can't be that much, okay? It can't be that much. Even if it's 40 grand, that's cheap. Quarantine them, pay them. That's all. And then when the quarantine's over, you release them. See, the problem is we're letting more people into this country, so a lot of politicians probably are going to say no quarantine. Because if you let 150 people a day into this country, you got to quarantine all of them, then the bill gets high. But if they don't even come in before they're quarantined, it's better. You know, I'm all for banning the flights coming in. And we're not saying banning the flights for healthcare workers going there or coming back. We're not even talking about that. They can have all the flights coming in here banned. And you'd have to come into a passport, right? Hopefully, to get into the United States, you need a passport. So I don't think you can sneak in here, right? You would think, but you know how that goes. Just because Obama, he released 2,200 criminals, illegal immigrants that were criminals, charged with murder, rape, violent felonies. And here we got people for friggin' driving without registration and driving around with an ounce of marijuana in their car that are friggin' in prison and got felonies. That makes no sense. That's the most absurd thing I've ever heard, that the government will let out 2,200 illegal immigrants and will keep U.S. American citizens locked up in jail, which have non-violent felonies or things that shouldn't even be felonies. Like if they robbed $300 worth of clothes from Macy's, who gives a shit? That's not violent. Let them out. They don't deserve to be clogging up the prison for something that's stupidity. That's stupid. That's stupidity. But I noticed the government can let out 2,200 illegal immigrants. I'd be pissing mad if I were the people in prison over there, sitting there with friggin' too many parking tickets or not paying their child support. I would be spitting bullets, and everybody should write letters on that. That is friggin' ridiculous. But as far as the Ebola thing, yes, I believe there should be a ban on all flights coming into the United States, France, UK, Britain, and all these countries need to get together and look at this and say it affects everybody. You know, it's the big picture. It's not the small picture. And you're telling me they can get in here other ways? Well, if we protect our borders and we have the correct security measures, they shouldn't be getting into the countries the other way. And if they are, then Houston, we got a problem. But, I mean, it's ridiculous. And when I heard that last night on the news, 2,200 illegal immigrants they released from prisons because they didn't got enough room. Well, I'm sure they got a lot of room in Miami and Tampa and in New York and all this for prisoners. How come they don't have them where they had the 2,200 illegal immigrants? I mean, I'm all for it. I know Charlie Crist, which is the running for governor in Florida, wants to, if he gets elected, and it would be great if he did, that would be great. But usually ones that have the good agendas don't. But if nothing else, raising the minimum wage, and also he's got a thing that he wants to do. Anybody that's been convicted of a non-violent felony or was convicted of a non-violent felony and is in jail, he wants to, number one, he release them, expunge their record, and he'll probably do some kind of monitoring or probation when they get out, and get them jobs. What the hell is wrong with that? Most of these people in prison are poor people, or poor blacks, Hispanics, whites, that didn't have enough money to pay for a lawyer, didn't have enough money for a bail bondsman, so they're in friggin' prison. And a lot of them are in jail waiting for trial or a court date, and if you don't have bail, you sit there until the trial date is, which is ridiculous, because what happened in the United States, proven innocent until proven guilty. You don't have that. Yet they're releasing 2,200 illegal immigrants that there were murder, there was rape, there was kidnapping, there was weapons charges, a myriad of things that were very dangerous. And those people get out. And the other people are stuck in prison. And a lot of times it's not even for big things. It's just basically, if somebody got 2 DWIs and The second one, I think you get arrested, right? And if he didn't have a bail bondsman, he's in jail until he goes to court. There ain't no way for a DWI that guy should be in jail, period. And number one, he shouldn't get a felony. That shouldn't be a felony offense. Felony offenses should start with violent assaults like murder, wife beating, child pornography. That should be a felony. Felonies should only be violent offenses. The other ones shouldn't even be. They should be reclassified into something else. Because believe me, convicted felon, what the hell? That sounds like the guy, Jesse James, robbed a bank. When I hear that, and then I find out it's anything over $300 in Florida, and I think it's anything over like $650 in New York. So any kind of crime that you did that's over that amount, you're a felon. It makes no sense. And then drug use and different things like that. I mean, your buddy could have, he could be on a medication like Loratab, and you could have 3 Loratabs in your pocket, and you get a felony, you get arrested. I just don't think they should get it for that. It's ridiculous. And then once they get arrested, they got a bail. If they don't get bail, they go to jail, and they stay there for months rotting until the legal system decides to. And really, with the legal system right now, the courts are overburdened. In courts, you could wait a year and a half in jail for a court date. You can wait that long, and it could be something for petty. And then you go in prison. I mean, you lose your job, you lost everything, you lost your wife, your girlfriend, you're broke. So you figure, what the hell? Now I'm in prison, and then you're in with really bad people, and you learn a new trade, and you come out with a record, and you can't work. So then you pick another life. You pick a life of crime. So really, the justice system really needs to look with a microscopic magnifying glass at the way they're treating people. And I understand, guys, that all the law enforcement and the judges out there, I understand. Inmates pay your bills, guys. I understand. And, if you've got a few thousand inmates in a prison, you need correctional guards. I understand. Those correctional guards have to watch them, right? I understand. So they got to hire more people, government jobs, build more prisons. Your politicians can construct more prisons and have their friends build them, and you need more food. And I know they wanted to privatize them so they could work the hell out of these guys like sweatshops, so they could work in them and make license plates and pottery and shit like that, and give them $2 an hour. I understand that. Okay, I understand. It's a really big political arena, but I mean, in a situation like that, nobody gets rehabilitated unless the guy's got some cash in his pocket. Chances are he probably won't go to prison. That's why I recommend everybody should have 20 grand put aside. If you do a crime in your life and you make money for it, take half the money for the crime and stash it away and bury it under an apple tree somewhere. Because if you ever get arrested, if you ever need a lawyer, if you have 20 grand, chances are that it will get you out of your court situation, at least get you bail. It will get you where you can pay back your debt to society. They don't care. So, I mean, black and white. The bail bondsman gets 10% up front to get you out of jail, and you don't get that back. Okay. Then you got to pay a lawyer, and you don't get that back. And then you get a fine, you don't get that back. And you might even get a criminal conviction out of it. And that screws your life up. So, you don't have any money to begin with. You got to pay a fine or go to jail. I hate to say it, if it was a big enough fine, and the legal system wasn't going to work with you, and they told you, okay, you have $100,000 fine. Okay, let's say you did something and you didn't kill somebody, let's say embezzlement or whatever the hell it was, and he says, okay, and you already spent like 10 grand for a lawyer, and finally at the end they say, okay, well, this is what we're going to offer you. We will offer you 3 years in jail. When you come out of jail, you're going to be on probation for 5 years, and you got to pay back 50 grand. Well, you know what, guys? You'd be better off going to jail for 6 years. because you're still going to get a felony, and you got to pay the money back, and chances are you won't be able to work. So if they want to work with you, yeah, I can see if they say, okay, $10,000 fine, we drop all the charges after you're off of probation. Well, that's workable, because then you could work, you have something to work for. But if they're going to give you a fine, jail, and a felony, you might as well go to jail and save the money. And they may add an extra year on, but who gives two rats' ass, really? Because sometimes, they don't really give a shit. But, and this is the truth. If you look around, how many people are in prison? Poor black, whites, Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, they're all poor. None of them have money. And I could see gangs and stuff like that where they shot somebody. Yeah, I understand that. But nonviolent felonies, they should release all them guys. And prison should only be for somebody that's a violent felony, killed somebody. And the government also needs to reword the way they have something. Have you ever been convicted of a felony? Even if you're going to buy a gun. Well, that's bullshit. You ever been convicted of a felony? Yeah, the guy robbed $300 worth of pants when he was 21 from the store. And yeah, now he's got a felony. Okay, so he can't vote, he can't own a gun. That's ridiculous. Come on, we got cops that are crooked, beating up, killing people, cheating. We got politicians that are cheating. The one politician, remember, he shot himself in the head, blew his head off. We got judges, lawyers, even the president releasing 2,200 prisoners that are violent felons. I don't know. When I hear about this, it really, really makes me sick. But, tell me what you think about what I'm talking about. And thanks for tuning into my Florida Drive-By. I hope everybody's having a great day. And just remember, may the force be with you.